don't think it's super creepy to just walk through a cemetery. It's very peaceful. I think it's really nice. And then you can, maybe if you live in the town where your family is buried or your grandparents or whatever, it's a great time to go and pay tribute to them. Or maybe you live near a famous cemetery and you can go check that out. Hi, I'm Ashleigh, and welcome to the Big Crystal Energy Podcast. This is a place for the crystal curious, arcane-minded, and everything in the in-between. In this podcast, we will jump down the rabbit hole into the metaphysical, esoteric, occult, and spiritual realms. Nothing is off limits. I'm a mom, wife, an orthopedic physician assistant by day, and a seeker of all things spooky and kooky by night. I've spent my entire career in the medical field, but have always felt like there's more out there, and this is where we will explore together. We will have conversations with crystal healers, rock hounds, artists, musicians, spiritual coaches, magic makers, and anything woo-woo that strikes our fancy. Let's take our spiritual journey to the next level. So grab a crystal, pour a cup of tea. It's time to feel the big crystal energy. Welcome back to the Big Crystal Energy Podcast, where we mix the magical with the mundane and celebrate the witchy in every season. I'm your host, Ashleigh, and today we're diving into one of my favorite newfound, newly made up holidays, Summerween, because who says spooky has to wait for October? If you're spooky year round, right? If you're the kind of person who burns your cemetery scented candle in July, listens to ghost story podcasts at the beach, or throws a haunted birthday party for your toddler, hi, you found your people. In this episode, I'll be talking about how to bring a little shadow magic to the sunniest months of the year, from witchy playlists and spooky reads to dark crystals, tarot spreads, and even what perfume to wear when you want to feel like a true beach goth. So grab your iced coffee or your sparkling seltzer, settle into a shady corner, and let's get into the spooky sunshine vibes of Summerween. How about that intro? Anyway, yes. So I have totally been getting into the hype of the Summerween vibe, and I'm loving it because truthfully, I used to love summer. I really did. I loved when it was really hot outside, probably because I grew up in the Midwest and I just always hated the winter. But in the recent years, I have actually kind of dreaded the summer a little bit, just because where I live in California, it is so hot. Some days it's so hard to be outside because it's just scorching hot. I can't go on walks. It's hard for the kids to play outside because they're so hot and sweaty and just all of the things. And I just feel like a moody, spooky girl anymore. And that's my vibe. So I have to say, I was loving Iceland. It was like the perfect weather and perfect vibe for me for this summer. But we are back. We are in the hot months of July and August and September. So I thought it would be fun to do this Summerween episode right here as we head into July. And I've just been brainstorming ideas, things that have been popping into my head as to how we can get into this little festivity. And so as I've been bopping around my house, unpacking from our travels, I've been taking down notes. And then I finally just decided, you know what, I'm going to turn what I was going to use as just like a reel or a post on my Instagram. I'm like, you know what, I should just do a whole podcast episode about this because I have so much to say and I can't really express it all in a short form reel. So I'll probably condense it down and do some social media stuff just so people can kind of capture some of these things that I'm talking about in a easier way. But for those of you that like podcasts, for those of you that like summer and Halloween, and you like all of the things kooky, spooky, and a little bit dark and moody, let's do it. Number one recommendation, spooky podcasts, right? I mean, we all are about podcasts here. So here's a few options. These are on, your typical podcast platforms. Two Girls, One Ghost, which I have really been getting into lately. I've been really loving ghost stories. I've been really loving stuff about cryptids, UFOs, all of those kinds of things. And so that's a great podcast. And they've been podcasting for a very long time. So they have a huge library of episodes. Morbid is another one. Let's Get Haunted. And this other one that I've recently discovered is called The Midnight Library. So those are all fun podcasts that maybe you could be listening to when you're at the beach or you're out for your early morning or late night walk or run, taking the dog out, all of the things. I also put together a Summerween reading list of some books that just kind of popped into my head that I thought would be really great for this time of year. I'm going to give you 5 books. I do not want to overwhelm the system with suggestions. Currently, I am reading a book called The Skeleton Key by Erin Kelly. I'm about 3/4 of the way done. I've really been enjoying it. It's pretty complex. It's a gothic mystery. It's a psychological thriller. The vibes of this book are family secrets, cryptic games, and buried bodies. Can't go wrong there. Why is this book Summerween worthy? Well, it's an eerie tale about a twisted family treasure hunt gone horribly wrong. You want to think gothic puzzles, murder, and folklore unearthed in the heat of summer. Equal parts thriller and slow burn horror. Yeah, I've been loving this one. It's a fast read too. It's a big book, but it's a fast read. Okay, number 2. It's called The Lottery by Shirley Jackson. Shirley Jackson is a very well-known horror author. This is a classic short story. I have a book called The Lottery, and then it has a whole bunch of other Shirley Jackson horror stories in it. But The Lottery, it's the vibes are small town, sinister traditions, moral dread. Why it's a must-read? It's an iconic short story. This iconic short story is unsettling in the best way. A sunny day, a quaint village, and a deeply disturbing ritual. Read it in one sitting and then question everything. Hauntingly perfect for Summerween. Number 3, The Bane Witch, which, hang on, I'm going to grab it because it's right behind me. The Bane Witch by Ava Morgan. I was reading this earlier this year. I had been posting it a lot on my social media. Truthfully, I would love to muster up the courage to ask Ava Morgan to come on the podcast. She has other books too, but this was a really great one. Fun, fast read. It's kind of like a YA fantasy coming of age story. The vibes are ancestral, magic, dark forests, forbidden power. Why this book belongs on your Summerween reading list. It's a lush, haunting tale of a girl discovering her powers, family legacy, and the dangers of suppressed magic. Perfect for fans of witchcraft, with teeth and the shadowy side of femininity. Number 4, The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. Genre, it's a historical fantasy. It's feminist witchlit. Vibes, suffragettes plus spells, sisterhood, secret grimoires, and why it casts a Summerween spell. It's a gorgeously written tale of 3 sisters reclaiming witchcraft in an alternate 1890s America. It's empowering, dark, and dripping with magical realism and rage. Summerween feminism at its finest. Yeah, so that was The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. And number 5, which is probably my favorite recommendation because it's such a classic and you could potentially read it with your kids if they're a little bit older. The Witches by Roald Dahl. It's a middle grade horror. It's a dark fairy tale. The vibes are glamorous villains, child-hating witches, and spooky hotels. And why is it timelessly creepy? It's a childhood classic with real terror beneath the whimsy, witches in wigs and gloves, a sinister seaside hotel, and magic mice. Read it through adult eyes. It still chills. Bonus points if you rewatch the 1990 film version, which of course is my favorite. It came out with a new version of The Witches with Anne Hathaway. Actually, we were just watching it the other day. Kind of like Willy Wonka. And then they have the Johnny Depp version, and they've had like all these different versions. It's always the original that's the best. So The Witches, the book, all Roald Dahl books are kind of fantastical, creepy, weird, but The Witches especially, and that is just like total Ashleigh lore. That is probably one of the most formative books and movies of my life and has probably set me on the trajectory that I'm on right now because of that book and that story in general. But yeah, read the book, watch the movie with your kids, whatever you feel comfortable with. You know, another fun thing that you could do this time of year is just walk through your local cemetery. It doesn't have to be creepy. I was just in New York City and we were in the busy city and I looked over and my husband was like, oh my gosh, there's a cemetery right across the way. So we go over there and here's this very old, by American standards, of course, cemetery that's gated off, but you can walk through. There's nobody in there. It's so lovely, so peaceful. It was like covered in all of these big trees. So it was shaded and you could sit on a bench. You could wander around and look at all the old gravestones, which are always super interesting. And it was lovely. So, don't think it's super creepy to just walk through a cemetery. It's very peaceful. I think it's really nice. And then you can, maybe if you live in the town where your family is buried or your grandparents or whatever, it's a great time to go and pay tribute to them. Or maybe you live near a famous cemetery and you can go check that out. It's just a thought, something I would like to do. I'm always looking for a cemetery. Everywhere we travel, I'm always like, okay, where is the cool, creepy old cemetery? We've got to find it. We found so many cool cemeteries when we were in Iceland. I'll be honest. It was really interesting. Oh, fun fact. Do you know what the difference is between a graveyard and a cemetery? I learned that a graveyard is usually attached to a church. Right? So you'll go somewhere and you'll see like the little chapel or the little church, and then there's the graveyard with the headstones right next to it. But a cemetery is usually somewhere that is like separated from a church. I know, just if you want to get the lingo right. Another big thing that puts me in my Summerween mood and vibe is to have a playlist. So I have been working on my Summerween playlist. I just started it this morning. So right now there's not a ton of songs on there just because I haven't had that much time to work on it today. But let me give you some example of what's on my playlist. And I will share a link to my Spotify Summerween playlist in the show notes if you want to check it out. If your musical interests are similar to mine, I can't say I have very many, especially not where I live, a ton of close friends that have the same musical interests as me, and that's okay. But of course, I'm listening to Lady Gaga's latest album, Mayhem, between Abracadabra to Disease to Zombie Boy. So many dark vibes. I love that album. So that's kind of like my pop girly Summerween album. And then I've also been loving Ethel Cain. Any Ethel Cain albums are amazing. They're so moody, but that's much more chill. And oh my gosh, like that's the kind of music that you would just want to sit outside under the full moon and do a ritual and listen to some Ethel Cain. Have you ever heard of Godspeed You Black Emperor? Okay, so they're kind of, I don't know if I would call them metal, but they're an instrumental band. Their music, when I first heard it, changed my life. Their concerts have been the most incredible concerts I've ever seen in my life. If you do not know Godspeed You Black Emperor, check them out. Go back, listen to their old albums, and then listen to what they have, because I started listening to them in the early 2000s. And oh my gosh, talk about moody vibes. It's dark, it's heavy, but it's instrumental. And I have a very soft spot in my heart for instrumental music. Of course, you can always listen to Typo Negative, Nine Inch Nails, Tool, and dare I say it, Marilyn Manson. Sorry guys, I can't help it. Sweet Dreams, some of his classics. I was an angsty teen in the 90s. So if you didn't listen to Marilyn Manson in the 90s, then there's probably something wrong with you. No, I digress. But seriously, I did love me some Marilyn Manson back in the day. Funny story. Like I said, I was an angsty teen, like most of us were, and I was pretty rebellious when I was younger. And so, of course, I wanted to listen to basically the opposite of what my parents would want me to listen to. And Marilyn Manson was like the worst of the worst at that time, right? I mean, if you can remember back, his music was like shock rock. He was dirty. He was nasty, like all of the things. So, of course, I loved it, right? And I of course, got in trouble for who knows what. And my dad took away my Marilyn Manson albums because he thought they were like making me evil or whatever. He probably wasn't wrong looking back. I was probably being really influenced. He probably was not wrong to take them away. But I promptly went into his room and took the CDs out of the cases and just left the case in his drawer. And then I took my music back, right? And then I just kept on with my angsty self. I thought it was so clever. But yeah, I never really got busted for that. I got my music back and, I just kept on being me. But yeah, so if you have any other songs that you would recommend for a Summerween playlist, like send me a DM. I would love to put together a Big Crystal Energy Summerween playlist of all the stuff that people want to listen to. That would be so fun. And then we can just listen to that playlist all the way up until real spooky season. Hey, sorry to interrupt, but I have something you need to hear. Have you been feeling a shift, a pull towards something more? Whether you're manifesting new opportunities, confidence, or a major glow up, the universe is listening, and I've got just the thing. In a crystal clarity call, I'll intuitively select 3 crystals to support your manifestations, pull a tarot or oracle card for deeper guidance, and craft custom journal prompts to help you take action. It's more than a reading, it's an energetic roadmap. So if you're ready to align with your highest self, DM me on Instagram at mystical.mama.ash for details and pricing. Let's bring your magic to life. So another thing that has been really getting me in the vibe and the mood, all of the things, I am a person that is very drawn to scents. So right now I'm burning this candle that I got in Salem last year. Okay, I'm going to try to bring it up to the screen so you can see it. It's called Cemetery. It's by Burke and Hare Candle Company. And the smell is sweetgrass, hay, and fresh earth. So it basically smells like a fresh mowed lawn, which I love. I love that smell. I've been burning that. I also have been using my ceremony spray from Witch City Wicks, which is also in Salem. I've had this candle before, and then this is a room and body spray. Oh my gosh. It's so, I don't even know how to describe it. It's got like this almost like a vanilla, but like a, that oud, like tobacco smell. Oh, it's so good. And then the newest thing that I'm obsessed with is there's a perfume brand called Heretic. And Heretic came out with this discovery set called Beach Goth. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get this discovery set. So it comes in this gorgeous box. They sent the box so that when you open it, it has this delicious smell. First, I was like, oh my gosh, did one of the samples leak? But no, it did not. And then it comes with 6 different samples of their perfumes. And so they have all these amazing scents, and they have like very distinct smell, but they are light. So, you can wear these like kind of like goth smells, but it's not overpowering, right? So I have been loving that. I just got it a couple days ago, and I'm just like trying out all the different scents, and I love every single one of them so far. But I like getting the samples because it is very hard for me to commit to a big bottle of perfume until I really know for sure that I'm going to like it. And so the sample sizes are perfect. Now, how about crystals? So I have been thinking, what crystals put me in like the Summerween vibe? Well, of course, I have my giant piece of smoky quartz right here. One of my favorite crystals in my collection. It's grounding, protective. It's great for shadow work. And let's just say, I have this little thing that I wrote here. Like mist rising from a haunted forest floor, smoky quartz helps you stay calm and centered while diving into the mysterious. It's great for cemetery walks, spooky meditations, and letting go of energy that no longer serves. Okay, obsidian. I just got a beautiful piece of obsidian when I was in Iceland, but I have not unpacked it yet. Obsidian is kind of like a volcanic glass. My son found some obsidian, right? We did our vow renewal, and he put it in a box, and then he promptly lost it right away, but it was just these teeny tiny little pieces. So when I was at this museum in Iceland, this woman had this huge collection of stones and things that she had collected. It was Petra's stone collection. She had all these stones. So there was some obsidian there, pieces that you could buy from her collection. So I did purchase a piece of obsidian, but like I said, it's still packed. Obsidian is all about deep protection. It's a truth teller, and it's a very good energetic mirror. It's jet black and volcanic. Obsidian is like carrying a pocket portal to the underworld. You could use it during tarot pulls or shadow journaling to face hidden truths and with bravery and a touch of drama. You can also use obsidian for obsidian mirror scrying. I have this obsidian mirror, and it goes on this little pedestal, and that is great for scrying. So that would be fun to do during this time of year. You can also use black tourmaline. That's great for psychic protection, EMF shield, energy detox. Think of it as your personal energetic bouncer, whether you're at a crowded Summerween party or wandering through an oddities market. This crystal keeps your aura squeaky clean and witch approved. Onyx, it's all about strength, focus, inner power. Onyx channels that silent, stoic graveyard energy. It's steady, strong, and keeps your energy grounded. Perfect for when you're casting spells or setting up your altar in high summer chaos. Jet, its vibe is like ancestral connection, grief work, purification. Jet has long been associated with mourning jewelry and Victorian death rituals. Use it to connect with spirits, honor your lineage, or just add extra gothic flair to your ritual wear. I also am going to suggest clear quartz, especially in a sphere or crystal ball form. It's an amplifier. It's all about clarity and connection to your higher self. Your crystal ball isn't just decorative. Clear quartz magnifies any intention, especially when used in divination. It's great for Summerween tarot spreads, spell work, or channeling each side ghost stories. And finally, labradorite. It's all about intuition, transformation, magical shielding, flashing like witchfire in the dark. Labradorite is a portal stone, ideal for tapping into your inner mystic. Use it to enhance psychic downloads during your nighttime rituals or while listening to spooky podcasts under the stars. You can use your crystals for summer rituals. You can use it to charge water or make crystal water. You can use it. You can cleanse your crystals under the full moon or in the moonlight. You can use them to meditate, like the dark crystals to meditate in the sun. You can cleanse your crystals under the sunlight or moonlight. Lots of different ways you can use your crystals. So I have 2 tarot decks here that I love for me personally for Summerween vibes, and an oracle deck. So the 2 tarot decks I have here are it's the Legend of Sleepy Hollow tarot deck by Nick Lawyer and the Dark Crystal tarot deck from the movie The Dark Crystal. And then I have an oracle deck here that I love, the Dark Goddesses Oracle, which is by Caitlin McCarthy. So I'm going to give you some prompts. If you want to do this tarot spread, I'll probably make a post on my social media. If you want to do this tarot spread for yourself, you can use any deck that you have. So it's a 6-card spread that explores what's thriving, what's haunting, and how to blend light and dark magic. Not like dark magic, but just like the shadow side. How about that? So I want to call it Sunlight and Shadows Tarot Spread. Card number 1, the mask you wear. What part of yourself are you showing the world right now? Think of this as your summer persona, confident, fun, or maybe carefully curated, or whatever you have going on. Card number 2, the fire within. What energy is burning brightly inside you? This is the passion, idea, or obsession begging for your attention. Card 3, the shadow lurking. What fear, memory, or pattern is haunting you beneath the surface? What needs confronting or releasing? Card number 4, your spooky joy. Where do you find comfort in the weird, the dark, or the unconventional? This card celebrates your Summerween soul food. Card number 5, the magic to embrace. What spell, ritual, or mindset will empower you this season? A call to tap into your witchy power. What's your unique magic? And card number 6, what needs a funeral? What outdated belief, habit, or connection must be laid to rest? A gentle nudge to bury what no longer serves you, metaphorically, of course. You can do that either with tarot or oracle cards. Other options for this time of year, just beyond crystals and tarot and all of those things. Dress your Summerween best, whatever that means for you. Black sundresses, dark lipstick, black nail polish, the biggest sunglasses and wide-brimmed sun hats you've ever seen. Slathering yourself in sunscreen so that the sun doesn't melt your vampire body. You can watch some movies. You could have a Summerween movie list, such as Practical Magic, Sleepy Hollow, The Craft, Beetlejuice, Hocus Pocus, The Witches, Coraline, The Witches of Eastwick. What a classic. Death Becomes Her. One of my favorites. You could have a Summerween party. You could just have a party in your backyard. You could have a party at the park. I am personally putting together my son's 3rd birthday Summerween lake party extravaganza at our local park. Last minute impromptu birthday party since we've been traveling and I have had absolutely no time or energy to plan anything else. But you could have your own little Summerween party where you guys get together and do tarot card pulls for each other, or make your favorite foods that remind you of the season, or you could get dressed up in your best goth vibes, whatever it may be. One of my favorite things that for the summer that I'm really looking forward to is next weekend we're going to the Oddities and Curiosities Fair in San Jose. If you don't have an Oddities Fair near you, then maybe you could find a local witchy or metaphysical shop to go to, or you could go to just a bookstore, a library, or you could find a haunted walking tour. You could explore places like antique shops, cemeteries, libraries. You go to the forest. You could go to the cliffs at the coast, but you could just look at it with more of a haunted or spooky lens. You could go, take your camera and try to get like spooky shots of stuff, whatever it is that you feel called to do. You could create your own Summerween altar. For me, I've got my cemetery candle. I've got my, I'm probably going to put out my Icelandic obsidian that I just got, some other little bits and baubles of things that I got from Iceland when we were there that remind me of the land. I did bring a little bit of black. You're not supposed to take anything from Iceland as far as stones and sand and all of the things. But I did ask the land spirits because I felt like I had to bring something home if they were okay if I brought a very small amount of black sand home and a few pebbles from the beach and a few shells. And so I did. I brought home a very small amount of stuff, not enough to make any kind of difference. And it's going to be well loved at my house. So I'm going to use those things to set up my Summerween altar. And that's a wrap, my friends, on our Summerween celebration. Whether you're throwing a full-blown haunted pool party or just adding a little black eyeliner to your beach look, I hope this episode inspired you to lean into your shadowy side, even in the brightest part of the year. I'll be dropping my Summerween Spotify playlist, my book recommendations, my crystal list, my tarot card pull, all of those things. I'll be putting all of that in the show notes. I'll be making social media posts about all of that so you can do them for yourself. You can add to the playlist. I would love to see what you're up to for your Summerween celebration. Please tag me, tag the podcast, share it with me. You can send me a DM. I would love to share what you guys are all up to. You can send me DMs at mystical.mama.ash or at Big Crystal Energy Podcast. And I would love to share with everybody else what cool things you're getting into. Or if you have any music recommendations, I know I've said that a few times, but please shout it out because I would love to build a fun Summerween playlist for us all. And just remember, the veil is never fully closed. Stay magical, stay weird, and I'll see you on the other side. Bye! Thank you so much for jumping down the rabbit hole with me. If you connected with this episode in any way, I would love it if you could share it with a friend. Also, please tag me on social media. I'm at mystical.mama.ash or at Big Crystal Energy Podcast, mostly on Instagram. It helps so much getting my episodes out there and finding more magical, kooky, and spooky friends. Sending you all Big Crystal Energy. Cheers!